Hello students, this is MINERVA Sharma, Assistant Professor in Biotech Department at Gagan College of Management and Technology, Aligarh. We will talk about proteins. Now the question arises what it is all about. So here I will be discussing with you what are proteins, what is its classification and what role they play in our body. So let's get started. The term protein was given by Mulder, and who suggested this name? Berzelius. So when we talk about who gave the name, we got two names, Berzelius and Mulder, and the important one is Berzelius as he was the one who suggested the name for molecules studied by Mulder. As definition says, protein of prime importance, also termed as polypeptides, as many amino acids are joined by peptide bond. So because of many amino acids, the molecular weight of proteins is always high. Now we will see the classification of proteins. Proteins are classified in four types. In our body, proteins play different roles, sometimes as hormones, sometimes as enzymes, sometimes for transport. So when there are different roles, comes in the category of functional base. When the groups attached with amino acid, they falls in the category of chemical composition. According to their structure, whether it's linear chain or circular chain, they comes under the category of structural proteins. And last, on the basis of presence of essential amino acids and non-essential amino acids, they fall under the category of nutritional value. So let's see first classification based on functions. In this, proteins are divided into 8 categories. Like first, hormonal protein. What are hormones? So these are chemical substances secreted by our adrenal gland. Different hormones play different roles, like insulin in our body is secreted in pancreas and control glucose metabolism. Likewise, enzymatic proteins, if we eat something, then digestion should occur. So for this, our digestive system have different enzymes like amylase, catalase and trypsin. Now the proteins which gives structure or shape to our bones comes under the category of structural proteins like keratin, collagen. Next comes defensive proteins are the ones which protects us like antibodies present in WBC. Whenever any foreign particle present in our body, it attacks it and inactivates it. Storage protein, ferritin, stored in hemoglobin and supplies iron. Transport proteins supply oxygen from lungs to other tissues. Receptor proteins present on the cell membrane, and whenever any stimulus transfers to the signal and then comes to the receptor. Then contractile proteins for muscle relaxation. So this is all about functional classification. Now, on the basis of chemical composition, proteins are classified in 3 types: simple, conjugated and derived. Simple means only amino acids is involved. Conjugated proteins means amino acid plus non-protein part. Derived proteins means they are derived from simple and conjugated. When any chemical reaction or heat occurs, then changes occur in it. Following examples can be seen. Let's see. Examples of conjugated proteins. Protein plus non-protein part. Example, phosphoprotein, phospho plus protein, lipoprotein, lipid plus protein present in membranes, metalloproteins, metal plus protein present in nitrate reductase, nucleoproteins, nucleic acid plus protein present in telomerase, glycoproteins. Example, we have follicular stimulating hormone, chromoproteins present in hemoglobin and in hemoglobin cytochrome. Now, classification based on structure, elongated or circular. They are classified as fibrous, globular and intermediate proteins. Fibrous comes having soluble in water. They are not soluble in water. They are elongated. Globular ones are polypeptide chains tightly combined. They are soluble in water. Generally, the example is tertiary structure of hemoglobin. Next is intermediate proteins. They are like both in between, both long and soluble in water. Example fibrinogen. Next comes classification based on nutritional value. Like complete proteins have essential amino acids present. Milk is a complete proteins. Incomplete proteins having less essential amino acids. Partially incomplete means cannot give enough essential amino acid but lesser for metabolism. That's why rice is mixed with cereal. Now, let's talk about structure of proteins. The proteins have primary, secondary, tertiary and quaternary structure. Let's talk about each of them. Primary structure of protein. It is a linear sequence of amino acids, either 3-letter or 1-letter form. Now these amino acids are attached each other by a peptide bond. The primary structure of protein is always written from N-terminal to C-terminal of the last amino acids. Information about primary structure of protein can be obtained by sequencing the gene that encodes the protein. This information can also be obtained by sequencing the protein. In primary structure, amino acids are linked by peptide bond. Peptide bond form oxygen attached to the carbon and nitrogen attached to the hydrogen. Both oxygen and hydrogen have the ability to form hydrogen bond. This folding results in the secondary structure thereafter. Secondary structure can be of two types, either alpha helix or beta sheet. Let's talk about alpha helix. Alpha helix is the most common secondary structure. In this structure, protein attains spiral shape and the side chain of amino acids remains outwards. Alpha helix is stabilized by hydrogen bonding. This hydrogen bonding is formed between hydrogen and nitrogen. The oxygen attached with the carbon. The individual hydrogen bonding are of course weak, but connectively they are strong enough to stabilize the spiral structure. All the peptide bond except first and last participate in hydrogen bonding. Each turn of the helix has 3.6 amino acid at a distance of 0.54 nanometers. Presence of amino acids like proline can make the helix unstable. Now talking about beta sheet. It is the second type of secondary structure of protein. In alpha helix, hydrogen bonds were formed between same polypeptide chain, while in beta sheet, the same hydrogen bond is formed between two different polypeptides or the same polypeptide chain. It can be arranged in parallel or anti-parallel fashions. Now talking about tertiary structure of protein. Arrangement of proteins in three-dimensional space is tertiary structure of protein. It also have other bonds like hydrogen bonds, disulfide bonds, hydrophobic interactions, ionic bond interactions. Now at last talking about quaternary structure of proteins. Proteins have tertiary structure. Can further with other tertiary structure forms dimer, trimer, tetramer and so on. Structure so formed is called at the end quaternary structure. Most of the proteins in the cell have quaternary structure. So here we get complete information of the structure of proteins. Now moving ahead. Here as you can see in the image, some variety of protein sources which includes fish, meat, soya beans, tofu, nuts and seeds are used. Avoid processed food. These can have negative health effects. So always choose nutrient rich foods instead of processed foods when possible. So protein is an important part of our everyday diet. So here is a famous quote by Sylvester Stapleton, famous Australian actor. I keep my diet low in carbohydrates and high in protein, which needs to be followed by us also, as your success is found in your daily routine. Always remember this. Thank you so much.